pleased to welcome back Nami Haghighi, who runs Málaga Business Minds Group and is also the owner of Your Business Buddy. And Nami coaches and mentors small businesses. Also in the studio is Nick Bolton, founder and CEO of the Animus Centre for Coaching in London. And this is where Nami studied in 2009. Málaga Business Minds have invited him recently to give some talks, and one of them is the 6 steps to unstoppable growth. Good evening, both of you.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening. Now we're going to find out what other events are happening and some other things from yourself, Nami, in a moment. But first of all, I think people might like to know about Nick Bolton, what he does and what he can provide small businesses with, services offered, that sort of thing. And then, of course, yourself in a bit. Nick, welcome to Spain.
Hi, thank you very much.
And you enjoying your stay?
It's beautiful.
Good.
Yeah, it's certainly nice to get away from the 12 degrees of London.
Yes, yeah. And remind us where the talks have been and how they went.
So it took place here at Málaga, and it was a great success. We explored really I think for me the critical thing is how does somebody find their passion within a business? I talked about the 6 steps to unstoppable growth, but really there's only one big step, and that is this step towards finding what really matters to you and then hanging on to this thing rather than letting it fade off because of struggles.
Yes, because of the barriers you reach, and you might knock down 2 or 3, and by the 4th one you're thinking, perhaps I won't do this. You
start to get jaded, you start to lose faith, and you start to think, well, is it really worth the effort? And I think once you find something that really resonates with you, that you're passionately going to do, and that's the key step. Everything else is almost like the detail at that point.
Okay. Of course, people like to know a little bit about you as a person and how you got involved with the world of coaching, as we say.
Well, that's a good question, and really it comes back to the point I've just made. I ran my first business back in 2000, and I used to run conferences on social policy issues, and I ran that for about 8 years. But it got to a point where I'd really lost interest in my own business, and I was living on a canal boat at the time. Interesting, I was chugging around England, living on a boat, and I'd let my business kind of almost run out of steam completely, and I was on the verge of bankruptcy. Oh, no. And I was at the back of my boat about to sign a bankruptcy paper to say enough's enough, I'm going to lose my boat, lose everything. And I thought to myself, Nick, you're better than this, you can do more than this. The question was, what was I going to do? And I thought to myself, at that point, I'm going to start a business that I really care about, that matters to me more than anything, and that I'll plow all my energy and passion into. And that's what happened. Now, at the time, I'd already been a coach for a number of years within my other business for the public sector. But that wasn't really cutting it for me. So it was actually saying to myself, what matters to me here? And then creating a business. And that was the Smart School, which was my first, if you like, manifestation of a coaching school.
Okay. And Smart School, how did that work?
Well, it's very similar to what I've got now, but it was really about training really high-quality coaches. But it was, at the time I came up with the name, it was the idea that let's think about how do we smartly create a coach. And what does it look like to be a smart coach who's skilled and efficient and so on. But I realized the name itself also has kind of slightly childish connotations. So I realized I was hampering myself on my own brand. Okay. Hence, I decided to take a fresh start and say, well, what does it look like to have a bigger brand, a more exclusive brand, and a more intellectually grounded brand, which is what the Animus Centre for Coaching is. Okay.
And when did you create that?
So Animus started, what are we now, 2013? So it started May this year. So effectively it's the same company, but I really wanted to reach out in a different way to the marketplace, and I had to change the way I was perceived in terms of the branding. And so it's really a continuation of the same thing, but with a bigger vision for how I communicate. Okay,
and what type of services do you offer?
So we train coaches, and fundamentally I'm interested in independent coaches. So I tend not to do much of the corporate work, as in training corporate coaches. I'm very interested in people like Nami, who's building a successful career here in Spain off his own back, if you like, and saying, well, look, I have these skills. How do I help you, my clients, achieve more? And these are the kinds of guys I love training, because it's not about going back to the workplace and being paid a salary and coaching a little bit. It's about coaching is my life. It's what I do. And so somebody like Nami helps his clients achieve enormous success through some of the tools I've given him, but also bringing to bear all of his own wisdom, skills, knowledge, and experience from the past. That's my kind of ideal client, because they just have this passion to do so much with what I teach.
And as you say, your clients are mainly individual. That's what you concentrate on. And you've also edited and compiled a book called Light Bulb Moments, and it's 13 stories of personal insights in coaching. So can you explain the concept of this?
Very much so. This was a really important project to me because I realized that you get two kinds of coaching books in this world. One coaching book is a how to be a coach, and it's aimed at existing coaches who want to develop new skills, and that's great, we need those. The other coaching books are self-help books, and they're about how do I grow myself as a human being, and they're great, we need those. But nobody is out there saying, this is what coaching is. And I thought, how do we best explain what coaching is? Well, let's tell the stories of what happens in coaching. Let's peer behind the curtain of coaching and see what goes on in a coaching session. What is somebody like Nami doing in that hour with their client? What are they saying? What are they questioning? What are they achieving? And what does that look like? We've got stories ranging from an underworld debt collector with an anger issue, which is amazing. And he's gone off to Africa to build churches now.
Oh, that's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And we have somebody like Nami's clients who are business people, and in this case, somebody who was doing a franchise, and how did they make the right choice? So I wanted to show the whole breadth that coaching could achieve, whilst at the same time telling the human story that sits behind it. That was really important to me.
Yeah, and of course quite varied, the stories
very
as well. Yeah, which and inspiring.
Yeah, that's what I hope so. I hope so, because to me that's a beautiful book. It's not a how-to. It's not a here's what you should do. It's a look what's going on that we don't understand about coaching. Because if you ask most people what coaching is, they don't really know. And I feel that part of my job is to at least open up the world of coaching to the wider public.
Okay. Now, on page 34 of this book, Nami, you have an example as well. And it takes on seeing things from a different perspective. So can you just briefly tell us about your story in this?
Yes, very briefly. At the time, I was working from London, and I had a client up in the north of England, and he was interested in taking on a franchise, which is a very popular thing in the UK now. They see it as a shortcut to success by getting the formula and just applying some hard work and some money. And he'd been researching for quite a number of months, if not years, looking at different franchise options, etc. And finally, he decided on one. So he's consulting me about, how he should go ahead, and and the first thing I ask for always is numbers. Let's have a look at the numbers. And he sent them to me, and they just didn't add up. They didn't look right. Yeah. So basically I was asking him to do certain things, and I realized his perception was, I can't do that. You can't do this kind of thing. I said, well, if it wasn't possible, I wouldn't be asking you to do this, but it's so important. And the beauty of it was that particular franchisor had different establishments already in the area. So it was a simple question of actually go and talk to somebody in your position who started with them 2 years ago and ask them some honest questions. They'll give you some honest feedback. And weeks later, he still hadn't done going and knocking on the door and asking questions. Okay. So it took me to actually go to Nottingham, hold his hand, go to the person, and the owner of the establishment actually gave up 2 hours of his time, bought us coffee and cake, and sat us down and tell us all about the particular issues that he had with the franchisor. And it's all the things which I had discovered through the numbers were confirmed by this person. And it just changed his perception that you can literally just go and ask for help, and people will help. Yeah. But in his mind, in his world, in his version of the world, you couldn't do that. So that information wasn't available to him. And that could have cost him hundreds of thousands of the investment and the time and the energy we'd have put in there. And the person we spoke to, he had done the same thing. And it's literally just a few weeks, he remortgaged his house to put more money back into the business, which wasn't really working because the numbers were stacked up against them. So it's helping them just to shift. And sometimes by just telling people it doesn't help, you need to actually go and support them in a way that, whatever they need, whatever happens to be their particular need.
Yeah, in what way that they require, that they feel comfortable with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you couldn't believe that I got up and went up there for a day trip to just do that. But I had to prove my point. I could not let him go and sign a contract and move forward, because I could see the future unfolding. Yes. Again, you get something through experience, and you don't have to put...
you don't, learn by other people's experiences and what they've seen. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, best way really, isn't it? And you're yourself here just reminding our viewers, really. That's the type of support that you give to businesses. You coach and you mentor small businesses. You lead them in the right way, don't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. It is about, as a sole trader, or autonomo, they call it here, it's a very, solitary kind of environment. You're working on your own normally, very little guideline. And most of the professionals that are available to give you a hand, they're people you see at the end of the year, your accountant, your solicitor, but on a day-to-day basis to hold your hand through processes, through decisions, and also be able to step outside your business and look at it from the outside. It's very difficult for an individual to do that. So that's where I come in, to be able to help them go outside the business, look in, see what's working, what's not, how we can change, and what are the best decisions, and break it down. Sometimes the decisions are big, it's quite a big decision for them to make, and they can't even move forward, so they get stuck. So it's a matter of breaking it down into little chunks, and let's do them one step at a time, trial and error, measure, get feedback. They're very, very simple processes, but left to your own, sometimes you just won't get around doing them. You're too busy working your business most of the time.
Yeah, that's very true. But you do keep up to date with new things that are happening in the coaching world. So you've got more expertise to give them as well, haven't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm passionate about everything and anything to do with business. So I'm always reading, investigating, finding out more, going to London and UK doing courses. And that was one of the reasons that I decided to bring speakers here to share some of that knowledge base and some of those resources to Málaga for the English-speaking businesses that are here and don't have access. And they can't really leave their restaurant or bar or whatever business they're running for a few days to go to London. They won't even know they exist or where to go and what to do. So I use all of that together with my experience, my background as an accountant, all of that filtered through, and a bespoke solution for the particular business owner, client that I'm working with. Just the bits that they need to know about, they need to work on, and take them through the process and supporting them to the end, and celebrate their successes with them as well.
Yeah, that's a good thing to remember, celebrate the success. Now you have another event coming up in December.
That's right. Our next event is December 10th. It will be at Kaleido Restaurant Bar in the port of Málaga, starting at 8 o'clock. We start at 7:30 for registration. We'll have an hour, again, presentation, and followed by networking. I'm usually getting a few workshop type of exercises in as well to get people just to break the ice and also get to know each other a little bit better. And the last time we tried that in October and November, they were very popular. People loved that, what we call speed networking, that you literally get just a few minutes to talk to the other person and find out how you can help them, as opposed to telling them what you sell or what you're in the business. So it's a very interesting concept.
It is, very interesting. It'd be good to perhaps get a couple of people in afterwards to see what they thought about it and what they got out of it.
Absolutely. We do get people to give us feedback at the end of every event, and the feedback are great in that way, that they're doing things that they've never even thought about before, and it's changing their perception, and they keep coming back for more. So it's great. Great.
Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you. And I'm sure we'll see you back in Málaga, perhaps to give some more talks for Málaga Business Minds.
Thank you.
All the best to both of you. Thank you.